every once in a while someone comes through that door where we're like starstruck and a little freaked out, and you're one of those guys. And it's only a handful of times this has happened over the years.
Thank you. Now calm down.
Right. We're all obviously huge fans, and we love everything you've done.
Nice. I really appreciate it.
50 years, right?
50 years since I went into radio in 1956.
Wow.
Top 40 was just starting. Rock and roll was just starting. I was 18. And I had the advantage of having a car down in Shreveport. I was at Shreveport, Louisiana. I was in the Air Force. And I could go out at night and tell the chick, hey, you want to hear a song tomorrow? I'll dedicate it to you. What do you want? You know, it was magic, man. Two paychecks, didn't have to do anything on the air base, just do my show.
Radio's just never changed as far as that goes.
Well, that's why. That's
see it as a way to get girls.
That's why most people got into radio, is for the free CDs. Well, free CDs now, whatever. Free music, and hopefully picking up a few extra women on the side.
And trade outs with the sponsors.
Right. Yeah, the old plug-ola and the payola.
What was radio must have been a hell of a lot different back then than it is now, especially. Did you have freedom to really talk and say what you want? You didn't have a PD up your...
It was the first stage of Top 40, so personalities were still in play. Mm-hmm. And you had a kind of a persona on the air, and they set your pictures out, you know, and all that. And I was a young guy, so they wanted, you know, we had a lot of young listeners, naturally. And so they wanted to have like a fan club and all that stuff. And the thing about it was our radio station was a daytime. Dig this, it was a daytimer. That is to say, it went on the air in the morning, went off in sundown. Because that was the way you did it. Some of them 1,000 watt, and we had to gain our audience back every morning. And we had a 52 hooper in a 9-station market. A 52% share of the audience at a 9-station, a hot radio market, Shreveport. They had a big CBS station with Louisiana Hayride, had a lot of great radio stations, and we were number one. But we had an owner who hated rock and roll, but he played it. But he also played Ray Anthony and stuff like that. So it's schizophrenic. And you could choose everything you wanted. You know, you had top 30, you had the newcomers, and then you had oldies and dusty discs and all that.
But it was up to you. You know,
yes, you can make your own
pick
program.
it. And then what about like talking between the records to get some of your personality in there?
It wasn't just time and temperature and label and artist.
Right.
It was, you talk about whatever you felt like, and you could play around. I used to any live spots, I always had fun with them. I would do them in foreign accents, or I would do them as characters, you know. So, it was a lot of freedom.
Yeah, now oof.
Yeah,
it's a business, which I think Ope says it a lot when he got into it. Even it was a bunch of guys just kind of hanging out, especially FM radio.
FM radio, they hired you because you smoked pot. No, I'm serious. And the album-oriented rock stations in the 70s, especially, they hired you because you were one of the guys, and you would smoke pot and play whatever the hell you wanted, and then someone figured out, whoa, we can make money off this.
That's right.
Which turned out to be a bad thing in the end.
They called it underground radio for a while.
Sure, it was underground radio. I used to listen to old air checks, and you hear these guys, they're completely stoned, looking out the. I mean, you hear it on the radio. They're like, I'm just watching the snowfall. They were just completely gone. And this was CMF. I got to listen to some old air checks, and then you fast forward a mere 10, 15 years, and there's consultants, and there's PDs running in, and the general managers, and it's a whole different ball game now.
And they test everything, and they send out hooks.
Yeah,
they actually have people listen to hooks. To see which hooks they don't bother with the whole record. You like this whole section? Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, if you like 2 seconds of this song, our station's going to play it. How ridiculous is that?
I know.
And I was one of the guys when I first started in radio. I was the guy that had to play this little hook for people at home while they were trying to eat.
You did that.
I was an intern. That was my job.
Yeah.
And I would just fudge the results because half these people would be cursing me out, saying "F you, I'm eating, don't ever call again." I'm like, all right, they like the song.
Yes.
Right on the air.
So and the consultants would take all this research seriously, but they would give it to interns to do. Of course, they're not going to work that hard at doing that.
Well, it's just another sign of the absolute disintegration and decay of this country. It's been in its death throes, since World War II. It's on the way. It's going away, man. People think it's going away. hey, if you can't smell that, if you can't see that, you ain't paying attention, man.
You've said a lot of things that have been really controversial with some people, and that's one of them. I happen to agree with you.
Yeah.
I think we're doomed as a nation. We're going to go down in history as one of those empires that kind of peaked and then kind of went away.
Overreached.
Yeah.
Selfish, arrogant. And now we have things like tequila lollipops, you know. and I counted. In the car wash about a couple of years ago by now. I counted of all the ways you could change the smell in your car. From things you hang on the window to beads to sprays to they had several delivery systems for this stuff. I counted over 200 different things you could do to change the smell in your car, and one of them was called new car smell. And I mean, it's over. Yeah. It's finished. Take a look, you know.
One of my favorite things is, like, as the years have gone on, you're less good at hiding your revulsion for everything, which is what's so. It's great.
Thank you.
I love it as it's gone on. It's just gotten like just angrier and just less trying to be polite to them and just assaulting the people that are actually sitting.
And
in the room.
you know, I want to just, if I may, for a moment, correct the word anger, even though it's an understandable word to use when you describe some of that stuff I do. It's really a disappointment and a disillusionment and a contempt for people, this country, and the human species, either one you want to take, the American nation or the human species. We were given great gifts, this mind, this brain that we have as humans, and the wonderful gifts in this country, and we have squandered them, made all the wrong choices, organized ourselves poorly. We believe there's an invisible man in the sky who's running things, and all we want is the latest gizmo. We want a cell phone that'll make pancakes. If we can get that, we're going to be fine. And it's just absurd. And what it is, it's a frustration. You know, it's not an anger. You intensify it on stage, and it reads as anger. I know that. But I don't live an angry life, and I look at this, and it's an amusement to me. This big world, this big round globe, is theater in the round to me. I'm just here for the show.
And you got an outlet. You could go on a stage and kind of you know, spew what you're seeing out there. And we have an outlet. We get to do a radio show, and we point out a lot of stuff that's going on.
You have the immediacy going for you. You can get right on it the next day.
I think I would go insane if I wasn't able to just like go on the radio and talk about all the craziness that's happening around us. I really do.
We were talking about the news and how it is just deteriorated from, you know, when I was growing up as a kid, you'd see Walter Cronkite on the news. It was a desk, it was a clock, it was Walter. And you pretty much believed him. You know what he was saying. You felt he wasn't trying to pull something over on you, whether he was getting accurate information or not. He was just reporting the news. He never got up and danced. I never saw him get up and dance. He never needed flashy graphics, and he never teased what was coming up next with some kind of deadly disease or there's a toy in your house that could kill your child. We'll tell you about it in 4 hours as your kid plays with toys. It's just this thing, this business to get people to tune in and keep tuning in. It's an entertainment show now.
I once heard a 7 o'clock news tease that said a prominent senator. No, it was during the entertainment hours. It was during prime time, like 8:30, something like that. They said prominent senator dies. Find out who at 11. You know, I wrote it down. It was so
right. Yeah. Hey, you know, we have to play some of these news teases for George. I think he would really appreciate it.
Oh, a couple of the Hall of Fame ones that we picked.
Yeah, we make fun of the local news and their news teases, right, George?
Yes.
And you might want to put the headphones on so you can hear this, or put them close to your ear there, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell George Carlin what to do.
This is the thing to tell me what to do.
Yeah. But what we do is we collect all the news teases that come into our show, and then we make a Hall of Fame. The best of the best so far. Okay, we've only been doing this about 2 years, and I think we got like 6. We'll play a couple for you, like this one.
One city wants to pack all their sex offenders into a 3-block area. Problem is, it could be right next to your house.
All the sex offenders, 3-block area, right next door to you.
Right next door to you.
That's 3-block area, small city.
Right. That's fantastic. And who's running on that platform? Like who wants to do that? We will have the sex offenders. Every one of them.
In one 3-block area.
That's great.
And then you got this one.
How a twist on the predator law could shut down religion.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, please.
But just one little twist, and that's it for religion.
That's it.
That's all it's going to take after all these years, right?
The complete anarchy.
Could frequent hiccups be a sign of cancer? Watch News 8 at 10.
That's on the money. It's always that fear of your health.
And the music, they got that.
Yeah.
That's the Exorcist music.
Yeah. Is it?
Like playing underneath. It sounds exactly like Tubular Bells or something playing under there.
We can't get enough of this, George. Here's another one.
Are you normal? Thursday at 11 on News 8.
Normal.
Don't go by us.
What a set on these.
Doesn't that sound like
idiots.
something from Kentucky Fried Movie or SNL? But it's really the news.
Yeah.
We only got a couple more real fast.
Could your house be making you fat? Tomorrow, CBS 2 News at 5.
We collect these like baseball cards. They are just too much fun to own.
And we take it very seriously. We debate it on the air. Should this one be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
We're not sure.
Yes.
You know, it takes a lot to get to the Hall of Fame.
And the ingredients in shampoo that can make a boy develop breasts. Tonight at 10.
Give it to the girls.
Send them to the neighborhood with the sex predators.
Might as well
the 3-block radius.
Might as well play it out. We got two more. This one.
Go, yeah.
Sex offenders may be in your house.
In your house.
Especially if you're one.
Right. And then finally.
The problem solvers have uncovered sexual predators sent to live in our nursing homes.
Do you really know who's living down the hall?
Could this happen to your mother?
Just the thought.
You sure they're not making fun of themselves?
They gotta be at this point. Just the thought of your mother being ravaged. That's pretty much what they wanted you to get.
Yeah.
Your mom's laying in a nursing home, barely breathing, and being ravaged by some predator.
By some predator that you didn't know about in
That's
the hospital.
What a great project.
When did it happen? It's like, and I talk about the downfall of the society the whole time. I'm constantly saying we're doomed.
Yeah.
We're doomed. But I don't know what did it. Is it the nation as a whole with getting greedy? Is it just the leadership? Is it political correctness? The world just opening up and getting more info? You know, it used to be kind of us against the Soviets, but then when information started being spread a little more easily, they kind of figured out what was going on. I don't know.
No.
But it's just it is depressing and just disappointing.
It's kind of entertaining when you look at it, though. You know, when you're born in the world, you're given a ticket to the freak show. When you're born in America, you're given a front row seat. And some of us have notebooks. And that's as simple as that. You and I, all of us in this room, we have notebooks, and we make little some of the freaks are self-appointed. Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, certain ones, and other ones are thrust into it. Leona Helmsley, it's just an interesting thing to watch. I mean, from the standpoint of personalities alone. But I don't know when. I think it's a cascade.
Yeah.
It builds on itself, and they say, "Hey," as you say, it reminds me of a line from. Firesign Theater. Hey, we can make whiskey. Hey, we can make money, like you said. That once they find out there's an extra $1 or $2 to be squeezed out, they do it.
Yeah.
You have this great, I'm sorry, George, you have a great knack of taking the way people are thinking and just really making you doubt your own point of view. Like with voting, it's such a brilliant point you made about how people say, you can't complain if you don't vote. And then you point out how, like, the people that voted are the ones that put these people in office. Yeah. So you have every right to complain because you're not a part of it.
You stayed home that day. Of course I'm complaining. I didn't do this. It wasn't my work.
The greatest ability to narrow everything down to one simple, beautiful point, like anorexia. I think it's probably my favorite thing you've ever said is anorexia. Rich C's don't want to eat. F them.
Yeah.
I mean, what a beautiful, accurate thing.
I had a friend in my neighborhood, Jack Heaney. We call him Billy Heaney. He was Bill John, and he had that reductionism. He could do that, and I sort of liked that, and I think I must have picked some of that up from him. He had a way of looking at something and really presenting it to you in bare bones. And of course, he went into a different field, but I was able to use it in my field. It's just a way of. Not BSing yourself, looking at the thing and saying, "Hey, wait a minute, what is this really? Oh yeah, here's what they're doing."
When did stand-up become so likable oriented too? It's really annoying how they're focusing so much on people being likable and people being sweet and kind of cuddly for an audience.
In what respect? Where?
Well, just like on television, it seems like they just want to take like the balls out of anything.
Oh yeah.
Especially stand-up performance-wise.
Well, I think everybody's running really scared, and I think any voice that sounds a little scary to them is going to be neutralized or compromised, or it's just it's a stupid. If you're talking about commercial television, forget it. Commercial anything. I mean, that's all it's about is selling goods. All that other stuff, nothing. The stuff in between doesn't mean anything. It's just a delivery system for sales. And you're not going to get anything worthwhile in between the selling.
You've been linked to the FCC now. I mean, forever you will be forever linked with the 7 dirty words, and
which is now 700.
But it's gone. Yeah. It's gone so far beyond that now, because now we don't only have to adhere to FCC regulations. Yeah. We have to adhere to nice regulations. Yeah. We have to. It's political correct. Little interest groups that'll like Reverend Al Sharpton and people that will just fire off some letterhead to your boss, and they will then give you another list of words that you can no longer use on the air. This disgusts me.
Sure.
It completely takes your balls away. You can't do the show you want to do.
No, once advertising is involved, once the cash register comes into play, everything else is subordinated to that, and has to be. Unfortunately, that's just what they do.
But I just think it doesn't. It would never pan out to where the advertiser really would have to worry. Like you say something on the air. A group comes up and says, all right, we're going to boycott. Yeah. I would love for someone to go ahead. Yeah. Let me see if this affects, Coca-Cola's bottom line at the end of the year.
Let's see how far see how far this really would go.
But they
obviously
get scared.
We're talking about the IMA situation, obviously.
Yeah, you get
when you do a radio show, you follow the FCC guidelines. You have to, or you're going to get fired and get the company fined. But now, like Ant said, it's not about that anymore. You have to now be nice on the radio. You can't offend. You can't offend a Rutgers basketball player, women's basketball player.
People think they have a right to not have their feelings hurt.
I know.
They actually think that's a given right that the forefathers wrote in that said your feelings they can't be hurt.
Right.
And that is you could say whatever you want as far as hurting someone's feelings. They could come back at you and say something else, but
that's that left-wing paternalism. Big white.
Oh yeah.
Big white daddy knows best.
Yep.
That came. Everyone. We all got to understand that we could expect censorship from the right wing. Over time, we know that's where it's going to come from. But to expect it from the left wing, from the politically correct people in the campuses, especially the Eastern Ivy League campuses, that caught me by surprise.
I mean, isn't that the guys, the people you grew up with that were going to, really change things and had this freer thinking, and then it just turns out to be a bunch of phonies. Right. Just like you said, paternalistic.
The conservatives have always hid behind family values and religion, and it seems like what the liberals hide behind is things like hate speech. Like that's how they get you to kind of not say what kind of smashes their ideology.
Yeah, it's this country went off the cliff, and it's just in free fall now. It's just we're waiting for the Big Bang to happen, and it's so wonderful what nature is doing to smack us back. This arrogant species who overbuilds, overreaches, overuses, wastes, just completely lays waste and despoils everything it touches. 3-wheel vehicles, all-terrain vehicles. We're going to go everywhere there's some sand. We're going to make a mark, and we're going to make an ugly mark, and then we're going to not worry about it, and we're going to come home, and we're going to barbecue. It's just a sick, it's disgust in my voice you're hearing. Welcome to disgust.
You had a great take on the beheadings. Everybody's like, oh, how horrible they are. And you said the beheadings, when you said, F them, stay out of another man's country, Jack. Yeah. I'm like, God damn it, that was a good point.
If you don't go to Iraq, you don't get beheaded. So now you know that. Put that on your list of stuff.
Stuff not to do.
Yeah.
What a great thing to say, though.
Again, boiling it right down to the simplest of things.
Simplifying it.
That's why when I hear you say something like the big invisible thing in the sky that people...
Well, we did a whole bit yesterday, the Harry Potter books being banned because there's wizardry and it's not good for the kids. And then Jimmy made a brilliant observation about, our own Jesus Christ there and the wizardry that was involved with that story. Yeah. That was quite similar to some of the stuff you're reading in these Harry Potter books.
Yes.
Like walking on water, changing water to wine, healing people. It's wizardry.
Lazarus.
Yeah.
You're not dead. I'm doing a bunch of stuff you're going to like in this next HBO show. The final part, the last 12, I don't know how long it is really, is a series of things on civic customs and civic beliefs and slogans and things that I question and that I never have believed in. But basically I'm talking about questioning them. I'm not trying to reject them outright. I'm holding them up for question. Proud to be an American. God bless America, swearing on the Bible, taking off your hat when the flag passes by. The last one is rights. The fact that you really don't have rights, they're imaginary. Rights are they're like the Three Little Pigs. They're like Pinocchio or the Boogeyman. We made them up. We made that up. We have 10 rights in the Bill of Rights in this country. Britain has 13. Why is God changing numbers on people? The Germans have 26. The Swedish have 29. Have 6. The Belgians have 29. Why would God give different people in different countries different numbers of different rights? So it's that reduction to the obvious, and it's a wonderful. I just love when I get to that part of the show because I know I'm going to have a lot more fun even than what has come before, Well,
I walked in and I saw George in the green room, and my favorite thing he's ever done is "You Are All Diseased." It's just to me, I can't stop watching it. And you close a live HBO special, and you close on a bit how there's no God. And you say that at the end of the joke, like the bit's very funny, and at the very end, you're like, there is no God, never was, not one. And I'm like, what balls? Close a live HBO special saying that.
And I think I said, and if there is a God, may he strike this audience dead. And then I put it on myself, and I said, see? He's afraid. He don't want to kill me, or whatever it was.
It was such a great way.
It's a lot of fun to throw it down in front of them and then step across it,
You've never become pompous as a comedian. Like I love so much the fact that your subject matter. I mean, it's by far away the most brilliant social commentary any comic's doing. But then there's also like silly things and fart jokes. It's never become too hip for the room. It's just whatever is funny to you.
Yeah, the room was never hip anyway. The room was always lame. I was always hipper than the room, even when I was a kid.
Yeah, George could go real deep and real silly. Like your whole thing on moving and stuff and that whole. I love that.
There were 3 areas. Actually, 4 areas now that I kind of draw from. Language itself, just for its own sake, talking about words and phrases and stuff.
Words hurt, George. We had to read a pamphlet here to do our radio show. A whole pamphlet. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you just brought up some that I think you would appreciate. I think you would appreciate this. That's why I jumped in here.
Yeah.
We with the political correctness and stuff.
Yes.
They handed out this pamphlet about how words hurt.
Called Words Hurt, and we had to read different stereotypes and how they're used, and we shouldn't use them. And we're at a point now on regular radio where I can't go into Chinatown and speak to somebody and then convey the conversation here using the accent of the Asian gentleman, because an Asian group will write in and say I'm doing a stereotypical accent. No, I'm imitating the guy at the store I was at.
Yeah.
You can't say that. So I could go to any other store and go, I was talking to a salesman and he said, well, that shirt looks a little big on you.
That's right.
I could do that, but I can't talk about how the egg foo young isn't done yet.
Right. So this Words Hurt, it was the pamphlet. We read every word on the air.
Really, yeah.
And made a huge joke out of it, and then we get in trouble for making a joke out of it. We're like, you're going to drive us insane. We can't take this stuff seriously in what we're doing on our radio show.
Words have become so so empowered.
People have become very, very nervous.
Where are the 4 places you draw from, though?
The English language, social commentary, kind of. I think that's the best word for some of that stuff, because it's not political, really. More like social. And silliness, and observations, like about stuff, things that universalities, things we all know, and therefore you have half the job is done with the audience because they already know the premise, and all you have to do is kind of like then take care of business.
I think I started throwing stuff away after listening to your stuff bit. Like, we just collect stuff that just means it's nonsense.
There's an interesting thing about something that someone gives you. It's very hard. Like a year after your aunt gave you a bad-looking clock or a dumb thing for a lamp, a year later, 2 years later, 10 years later, it's real easy to be in stores and say, get that out. That goes in the big pile over on the left. That's going to Salvation Army or Goodwill or whatever. But you know what's really hard to do? Throw it away the same day she gave it to you. And it's the same clock, and you feel the same way about it, but your conscience won't let you take it and put it in the dumpster when she leaves the house. It's very interesting.
Enough time has to pass, and then you feel, okay, I can throw this away now. You're so right.
That's really right.
Throw it out with the gift wrapping still on it.
That's right. Yeah, say, just say, why don't you meet me in the back? Meet me back by the garbage cans when you get to the house, because I wanted to make it easy for both of us.
I throw stuff away now, and people get outraged. Like, you just got that for your birthday. I'm like, they will never know that I just threw their stuff out. I'm not
going through. Maybe that's where they're getting this stuff. Yeah, going through the dumpsters.
What is it about just the passage of time that makes certain things okay when immediately it's just not? I was brought up the Titanic. Being just a horrific thing. A ship sinks, kills thousands.
How they sing.
And then, you fast forward a few years, relatively speaking, a blink of an eye, and there's an inflatable ride at kids' parties that is shaped like the Titanic sinking into the lawn with a hose, and little kids slide down the deck, and it's like, now it's a ride.
And they give you some smokestacks too, so the kids can bounce off the smokestacks on the way down.
And you're like, this was a horrible tragedy where people died in horrifically painful ways, but enough time goes by, and it's a kiddie ride now.
And they wonder why it's all ending. What's wrong with our country?
That's why after 9/11, I brought up that same thing. I go, how much time has to pass before they have a ride based on that horrific disaster? And then people call up, hey, what do you say?
You're sick.
It's like, well, the Titanic. Come on, you don't think those people had family, friends, loved ones and now it's a kiddie ride? Enough time goes by, people just seem to want to forget it.
And it's all different people.
Yeah.
All different
people. And I've also found that it's okay to show dead people if they're far away or if it's old in black and white. Like old World War II stuff, it's fine. You could show Japanese people just burnt to a crisp from a flamethrower. Right. And you can show dead people now as long as they're a certain a few miles away.
Yeah.
You can't show them here. Like, they won't show American dead people in a car wreck or shooting.
The newscast tells me you may the footage we're going to show may be too graphic for you.
Yeah.
And I think, not for me. What else do you have in there? You must have some more.
Show me the raw feed.
I start licking my chops. All right.
I know you're lying. Where's the raw feed?
I don't like that's an edit. And I something else I don't like when these local newscasters say, there's a woman in Los Angeles, and she said after any accident, or most accidents, the ones that follow the description I'm going to say right now, she'll say, well, thank goodness no one was hurt. And I don't agree with that. I don't like, that's an editorial remark. Save that for the editorial page. Maybe it's good some people got hurt. Maybe there are people who deserve to be hurt. Maybe we should have more people hurt. Well, who is she to decide this for me?
Yeah.
Tell me what happened, lady. That's what I want to know. That's why I tuned in here.
I'll say thank goodness they weren't hurt, or good for him.
Right.
I hope he's dead.
Yeah, they might be horrific people.
Yeah.
I like getting Carlin reports. Like, once in a while, you'll see like a comic that will go to see you as you're working through the special. It's always funny to hear like the things that cause certain people to walk out of the room. And occasionally, over the years, I've gotten them from people like, yeah, he was doing this thing on abortion, and some woman screamed, F you, George, and walked out. It's funny to know, like, even you, as who you are, you're still getting this crap on the road occasionally.
It's funny that people will buy a ticket who only saw you on the Johnny Carson show in the 1980s or 60s or 70s or something. Yeah, there are people who... that's why I really don't like Las Vegas audiences. I go there for sound reasons, for my own travel, lets my markets kind of breathe a little, you know. I go out 80, 90 dates a year. That's a lot. Every 2 years I go out to a place, and so I like to let them breathe, and I go to Vegas to earn some money. And I've always told those audiences, saying there's three kinds of people here tonight. I come out and I'd say this in the beginning. We have three kinds of people. We have hardcore fans, the kind of people, and some of them cheer when you do that. Hardcore fans, the kind of people that'll drive from Buffalo to Cleveland to see your show. They're fine. I said, then you have casual fans, people who've seen you a few times, and they saw you in college in the 70s, and they've heard a couple of your albums, and they're okay with you, but they don't really know what it is you do. I said, and then there are the schmucks. There are the schmucks and the a-holes. I say, these are the people who, one of them is from Thailand. I'm sorry, Thai people. One of them is from Thailand. The other guy has on short pants and socks and is scratching his nuts, and he has a coupon. And these people, if these people are sitting near you, don't be influenced by their reactions, please. You know, I used to give them a great little, about 5-minute pep talk, because you couldn't trust those audiences. They go either way on you.
Aren't they dumb? Isn't it? There's nothing more aggravating on stage. Bombing is acceptable, but when you know you're bombing on content because they object to the content, like, oh, there's nothing.
That drives Jimmy nuts.
I would rather just get stared at. I respect them staring, but I hate when they try to throw their... It's like an acting job for the rest of the audience.
Yeah. No, and I don't know why they go out. To
aggravate you.
You should be open if you go into a theater of any kind. You should be open. You should be there for wonderment and new experience.
Yeah, and surprises.
Yeah. That's right.
Things like that. I have to leave. I can't even be in the same room as
That's right.
It's like you're physically beating them.
Yeah.
They can't take the audio that is going into their ears.
Right.
It freaks them out too much.
Yep.
What kind of friggin' closed-minded ass leaves a room because they're hearing something that they don't really like?
Let's go to the phones. A lot of people really want to talk to George. Chrissy in Jersey, what's up? We got George Carlin in studio.
Chrissy. Hi, I just wanted to say that I love the F word. The skit that he does about the F word.
Thank you.
I am obsessed with it. It's probably the funniest thing that I've ever seen in my life. And every time, I have a couple of friends over, I show the skit to them. And it's probably by far the funniest thing that I've ever seen in my life. I love it.
You sound like a nice group. Thank you very, very much, Chrissy.
What's that about there, George, just for the people?
I think she's talking about the F.
Please.
Sorry, Chrissy.
The F word, she said.
Yeah, you just do a whole thing on it?
Yeah,
yes,
different
yeah.
You know what's always funny?
Variations in usage.
You attack the baby boomers. I don't think anything makes me happier than when you really slug the baby boomers.
Yeah.
It's just such an accurate, awful... And having them in the audience.
They're such pigs. And it's not just a demographic thing. It's a certain type of boomers. I mean, some guy in rural Minnesota who's of that age group obviously doesn't fit the description. But the stereotypical baby boomer who was, all in favor of free love and peace and screw authority, who became a banker, and now is kicking people out of homes and shit.
You know what I like? I like that commercial, the retirement commercial now with, who the hell is in it?
The guy was in Easy Rider.
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper?
No, Dennis Hopper.
Oh, Hopper.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Dennis Hopper is trying to be like, cool, man, and he's talking about your retirement plan, man, and how you got to go.
The key word is dreams.
Yeah.
They think if they say that gets them in the door all the way.
Right. Your dreams didn't die,
dreams
man.
Don't retire.
Yeah, your dreams don't retire, man. Come on, man. And you're like, wait a minute, this This is the guy who was smoking pot and a wild man.
You should have that then pan to an old lady being beaten by a black orderly.
Very nice.
By the way, during the break, you were talking to George about just going about your life and seeing stuff and going, wow, this is why the rest of the world hates us.
Yeah, and I'm one that I just kind of skip through life with my shoelaces untied. I know I kind of have a good time. I like having fun.
You enjoy sucking up all our energy, and
I drive a
big cars,
disgusting gas guzzler. I have a sports car that even uses more gas. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm on a roller coaster ride, and I could give a crap if the sun exploded tomorrow. I'd actually feel better about it because I'd get to watch.
Absolutely true.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel about the whole thing.
Right.
But I do understand watching television shows and seeing things that happen around. At least I know what I'm doing. I see why we're hated by the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. It's some of this reality programming, things like you bring up anorexia, the news. You just watch certain things and go, we have no clue how France and Spain, other countries are looking at us and just going, oh,
malignant narcissism.
Americans.
What's that?
Malignant narcissism. That's what we were guilty of. We're narcissists. We see our own reflection, and we were entranced by it.
Well, we were the big kahuna on the block for quite a while, and we were pretty much the world's saviors, keeping everyone safe from the dreaded commies. For so long,
you could get into the details of a lot of that.
Well, I'm talking about perception here.
Okay.
It's as far as especially Americans go. We were raised thinking, "Oh my God, these awful communists are here. They're taking over the world, and we're the good guys." So when that whole thing came down, we ended up with no one to really have as an enemy.
Right.
And I think we really started turning on ourselves.
Then we found the Muslim religion to turn on.
Yeah.
They're going to win, by the way. I say that in some of my shows.
Yeah.
The Muslims are going to win because they're going to out-reproduce us. They're already doing that. They will definitely have more babies than we do, and they don't care. You see, they have nothing to lose. I learned very early, growing up in West Harlem, you don't necessarily, if you have to, but if you don't necessarily get into a fight with some guy who doesn't give an F, a person who has nothing to lose will always beat someone who has things at home that he wants to protect. Always, 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 always. They don't care. They don't care, and there's more of them, and they're going to be more and more and more. Europe is already becoming Muslimized. That stuff is over. White race is on its way out. We don't even reproduce a replacement rate.
No, we kind of
barely replace ourselves.
Because we actually think about it sometimes. They go, can I afford this? Is this, my career is a little more important than this.
How many kids can I afford? College costs are so high. I guess we can do 2. I really wanted 5 or 7. Yeah, I agree with you because it's a long game. We look at it as this generation. Yeah, right. They're in for the long haul, man.
That's right. And
they're in for the long haul.
Time is on their side, and we're so anxious to look at the next quarterly division. The next quarterly dividend.
They could wait 1,000 years.
Coming, folks, and some of you are going to be alive to feel the blade. Feel the blade. It's going to be wonderful.
They certainly could wait a few hundred years.
Yeah.
Because especially in America, everything is ADD. Everything is instant gratification.
Oh, yeah.
They don't think on that level. They're like, we'll take our time here.
What do we got? You got some sand? You got a little fire going? Okay, man. We're cool.
Good for another 100 years. We'll wait this one out as they're concerned about getting their latest phone that cooks pancakes, like you said.
That's right. Yeah, and rubs your nuts.
Man, I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, these guys are going to win because they're not about this generation and about getting it done right now.
Right.
This is a long-term thing.
Doomed. We're just doomed.
Do you ever regret going after anything or no? Like, is there anything you went after that you're like, I shouldn't have?
No, I don't remember ever feeling like that. No. Sometimes I wish I had done some things extra. I wish I had thought even harder about something because I hear people like that so much. Why didn't I put more work into that? That kind of feeling. But nothing on the other direction. No.
Good.
And Well, you're acting. Kevin Smith has put you in a few movies.
Yeah.
Very entertaining.
It's fun. And Kevin's a good dude, and it's a lot of fun. But it's a waste of time because you sit around all day for someone else to tell you what to do about something another guy wrote.
Right.
A different guy wrote it, one guy wrote it, one guy directed it, and all you do is you just show up and repeat. And I'd rather be sitting there writing stuff and going out and saying, hey, listen to this, where do you hear this?
Yeah.
Look like
you don't seem like the kind of guy that wants to just sit around in a trailer.
At 19 and had real tough, good acting coaches in New York, good teachers, good course, really learned technique and all that, acting would have been a great life. Mm-hmm. But that didn't happen, and you can't just say, oh, I'll do that too. In my case, you can't.
Yeah.
Some guys do it. Some guys pull it off very well.
George Carlin's show lasted, I think, one season. Was that? I'm sure it had some. Was the writing difficult because of what they were telling you above? Was it hard to go where you wanted to go?
I knew it probably wouldn't have much of a chance, but I think I was 55 then, and I said to myself, I've had a lot of offers from different directions about sitcoms over the years, and maybe I ought to at least give this one shot so I don't say someday, gee, I should have tried that. I mean, I hadn't really turned into as good a writer as that was 15 years ago. And I'm a better. I didn't know I was a good writer then. I mean, I've had 3 books since that thing failed. I'm so glad that show went away. When that guy called me from Fox, I said, "Thank you, thank you so much for doing this," because I was afraid this would drag on for another year and then come to an end. I had a showrunner, creative partner, Sam Simon, who was a brilliant comic talent, but famously disliked by his colleagues in the business, and he admits that. And it was very difficult for me, and I think the cards were stacked against me. I wasn't part of the club. You got to be part of that club. That's a Hollywood club, and you have to work your way into it in certain ways. And coming in from the outside like that, it didn't work. And they didn't back my show. Fox didn't really back it. So that's fine. But I wanted to give it a shot. I didn't want to walk away saying I'd never tried that.
Yeah.
Well, that music means that we are ending this side of the show.
Certainly.
Damn it.
I'm going to definitely plug Joe. We're so happy you came in, man.
By the way, for the trick-or-treaters, we're health-free. Sally and I are health conscious. The kids come to the door, they get a B12 shot.
That's nice.
That's what I wanted to know.
Just syringes set up.